Hi everybody, it's Peter and we're here for the Savvy Sexy Social vlog every day, or in my case vlog almost every day in August. Unfortunately, I've just been lazy, busy, all the other dwarves. So tonight I'm going to cram in 5, count them, 5. I'm going to do all 5 days tonight. So, to begin. Okay, so day 18 was, would you rather travel or stay at home? I find actually that traveling was done mostly in my younger days. When I was, and the first time we started traveling, I was 4. First time we went to Vienna to go see my father's family. I'm actually first generation Canadian Germanic background. Like we can trace our ancestry back. We don't need ancestry.com. We actually have a flow chart or a nice little family tree my mom made a long, long time ago from family records that we actually got from the church. Um, Got to meet my grandmother, or as Oma, as we say in German, and parts of my dad's family. We actually went there because my dad's father was actually dying of cancer, so we figured, well, let's go see him one more time. And the interesting thing was my mother's mother and my mother actually spoke to me in German, but unfortunately in a dialect. So I never learned what's proper German, which is called Hochdeutsch. It's like learning proper English. It's like basically learning, like you're a Brit, you've learned proper English, and you go into the East End and trying to understand Cockney slang. You're not going to. So this was kind of similar. Vienna has a different dialect than, but if you learn school German or Hochdeutsch, you can almost speak with anybody. You're just not going to catch the slang of the colloquialisms. So that was my problem. I couldn't speak to my grandmother. I actually, from that moment on, I decided to speak English only. When I was 12, we went back to Germany. When I was in high school, traveled to England. The year after, went on a school trip to Hawaii. When I was a little bit older, when I was in the military, I actually took a vacation down to the Bahamas, to a Jack Tar village in the Grand Bahama Islands. That was kind of cool. When I was over in Germany, we ran around, and I spent a couple of times, went over to England. Uh, so I had been around, and then probably after I got out of the army in the 90s, then the traveling sort of slowed down. I didn't jump on a plane anymore, didn't get around. I actually never really traveled anywhere until a friend got the cottage bug, and I forget how old we were then, and then we started doing cottages. And now, since our 40th birthday, and it was like every 5 years now. So next time will be when we're 55. So yeah, most of my traveling is now just once in a while. And with traveling, I don't mind traveling, but I've gotten to the point, and I don't know if it's an age thing or just can't be bothered anymore. I really don't like driving more than an hour plus to go somewhere. That kind of thing. I'd rather just keep it close to home. With traffic and stuff, sometimes to go to downtown Toronto does take an hour or something, but when you're going during the off hours, it only takes you like half an hour, so it's not too bad. So it's a bit of both. But you hear that story from a lot of people. When they were younger, you had the opportunity, where I've heard talk to people, oh yeah, I traveled across. Yeah, do it now. Do it if you're in your 20s or something. Travel now, because once you get older, or if you get married, you have kids, you're not going to be able to, or it'll be like you'll have to save up for it, that kind of thing. So it's hard to do. Okay, day 19's question was coffee or tea. Well, I cheated with that one. I'm going to put the link again below. Sorry, below. I posted a video called Doing Combat Coffee in the Field with the Canadian infantry guys who were in Afghanistan, and they got bored and made a silly little video about how to using the ration pack and using the heater packs, because back in my day we used stoves. Well, I guess if you're running around in the sandbox, as I call it, you're running around the bush, and you're doing proper combat, you're not going to be carrying around a Coleman camping stove with you. So they actually have these chemical packs that activate with water and will heat things up. So the trick was, and you'll see in the video that I posted, that they basically stuck the coffee inside of a water bottle. Actually, they made that water hot, then threw it in that way, that kind of thing. But yeah, coffee, you used to call it lifer's blood or lifer's drink. We loved our coffee because you're on the go. You got to keep yourself going. It's coffee, coffee, coffee. Yeah, I'm not keen on tea. I don't mind like green tea. We're going Japanese food, that's not too bad. But like having like the tea bags you buy in the store, I never liked the taste of it with milk. It just kind of mirror. Okay, next question. And this is a tricky one. Days 20's question was best TV show. Okay, now this is a very loaded question because I'm up there. If you haven't told by now, I've been around for a while, so I've seen lots of TV shows. If you ask me today, which I'm going to base it on, most people I talk to will say Purse of Interest was, and even if when it first came out, I didn't know what it was. I thought it was some weird kidnapping, missing, what's going on, why are these people being followed? And one day I was starting to watch the reruns, but seasons 1 to 4 was really good. I like the characters. You have Jim Caviezel, his name's kind of hard to say, Michael Emerson, and a whole cast of characters. And what I liked about it was it's people going around helping other people. And the one character named Finch, he created the supercomputer that can track everybody. And the idea was that they came up with the concept was there were so many cameras installed in New York City because of crime. So the guys creating this, actually it's the brother of Chris Nolan, and I believe it's Jonathan Nolan, and actually their Uncle Nolan, he shows up as the villain in season 3, which is kind of cool. So they're keeping it in the family. But the concept was basically you've got all these cameras located in New York City. You could basically follow everybody's lives, literally. So the concept of the show is that the character Finch developed a computer program that can track everybody, but just so it's not abused. It's a closed system. No one can get at it. And the information the machine will only give you, that's what they call the computer system, the machine, will only give you the social insurance number of somebody in code. And it only was giving out people that were a threat to national security. So, terrorists, that kind of thing. But then there were other names that were coming up on the list, the people that they were calling irrelevant. People still may die, but it'll be like a common murder, that kind of thing. And Finch's best friend and partner said, we can't allow this because the little guy is getting killed. Meanwhile, yes, we are saving, millions of lives, that kind of idea. But what about the little guy? What's going to happen with him? So his friend decided to take the irrelevant list and try to save these people. And then his friend got killed in the process. I don't want to give away too much, but I really like the way the characters are. They're very fleshed out. They also go back in time every so often, like what happened before the machine, what happened before the main character, Jim Caviezel, whose character's name is Reese, what happened before Finch found Reese, and what did these people do beforehand. So there's always this timeline that actually goes back and forth. It's actually like, we're back to 2001. Nope, we're going back to 2010. And to keep the continuity is amazing because a lot of shows that do continuity is very hard. But what I found with Person of Interest when we got to season 4, it was getting okay. But then when we got near the end of the season, it was getting a little iffy. The final episode and punchline of how they escaped out of their hazard of the day, trying to save the machine from being destroyed. I didn't like how it went. It didn't seem to go with the rest of the theme of how the rest of the show. But if you ever see the pilot, season 1, episode 1, that is really good to show how the characters are and how they became, and the show is developed from that. I also liked a lot of dry humor, a lot of kind of almost like Arnold Schwarzenegger, James Bond one-liners, like somebody throws a fire accident into the room and it hits the wall, and the character will go like, somebody call 911. And it's not cheesy jokes, but it's just interesting, and the writing is really good. Sometimes some of the episodes will even end in a bit of a cliffhanger, just sort of like, well, we saved somebody else's life, but what are we going to do with the perpetrator? Are we going to turn him to the cops? Should Reese kill the person because he's just going to do more bad things, or should he let him go? There's been some episodes like that. Another TV show I just caught in reruns was called The Closer, about a special crime unit in LA. And I totally forgot about this show, and I was just watching an episode about that too, and that was really good. But to say one specific show only, you'd have to ask me like throughout time. When I was younger, I would have said, "Oh yeah, Star Trek," or this show or that show. But my tastes have changed. If I watch some of the older shows I used to watch, not so much. And I'm also not on the bandwagon. Like everybody goes on about Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad. I tried watching Breaking Bad. I bought the first season DVD set, and I got through about 3 or 4 episodes, and no, I couldn't get past it. No, I have very particular tastes. Certain things draw me and my intellect. I guess you can say. I mean, there's sometimes too I like to switch off the brain and watch something totally silly. I still like watching cartoons and animation. As long as it's good story and good people and good characters, that's what draws me into things. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Next question is, we'll keep this one short. How would you like to spend a Sunday? Well, in the words of one of my British friends from YouTube, I like to do nothing. Nothing at all. I just want to kick back on the couch and put my feet up. And that's it. That's a nice Sunday for me. And we'll wind up with today's question for day 22 of SSSVEDA, which is, which Snapchat person do you follow? Well, I don't use Snapchat. I recently got into Instagram. I use Twitter a little bit, and only recently to follow either the At Midnight Show from Chris Hardwick, or lately now to follow the SSSVEDA feed. But I'm not into all these different apps. There's some things I just really don't want to get into. I barely use Facebook anymore. I actually really cleaned out my friends list, because some people, after the last Canadian election, they were going on about, oh, who's in party and this, and it's like, oh God, do I have to like unfriend everybody or use the mute function or whatever, just to like, shut up guys, talk about something else. I don't really care about political nonsense in my Facebook feed. I don't need to be that connected to everybody. Also, I think it's just because I like me time. I like time on my own, so I don't need to be in everybody's pocket, literally. There's enough out there. I don't want to be inundated by tech. And I find, since I've been on my hiatus that I mentioned, I think in a previous video, I'm sort of off tech. I mean, I got back into fixing my computer up again, cleaning up my area, do some rewiring, I made my system nice and neat, got a nice mixing board, those kind of things. But I got to the point where I don't know if I even want to support tech anymore. But part of me is just like, almost want to walk away from tech. I mean, I've sort of gotten back into it again, but sometimes you just got to disconnect and just, walk away from it all. And now there's the, Pokemon Go craze. Everybody's running around, and some people getting hurt because of it, and why, so yeah, just, sometimes you just got to unplug and put stuff away. So that's everything in a nutshell, and I think I did a pretty good job today, doing 5 days for the vlog almost every day in Vita. That's the campaign I'm starting for August, and I keep saying I'm going to keep going, but again, it's a whole thing about how one feels. Life does get in the way. The weekend was busy. Sunday I wasn't feeling too good. Saturday I was running around. I was at a friend's place for a barbecue and stayed out late, so it's not critical for me to do this all the time. I like getting out there. I like watching everybody else putting themselves out, and I've met some interesting people, friended a few people on the tubes, and go from there and see how it is. So hopefully we'll see you all tomorrow if I can make it, and be seeing you.